Today I'm going to cover how to create a user-defined function that uses multiple arguments. These are basically parameters that you pass into your function. Today's example function will cover on how to compute simple interest, right? So I'll say this function will compute simple interest. If you're not familiar with simple interest, basically it's where you provide or save up a lump sum of money. You get paid an interest rate on it, such as in a CD at a bank, and you have to leave it there sitting for a couple of years and just allowing the interest to accumulate until it matures. So there are three factors that you need, or three values that you need in order to compute simple interest. One is your principal amount, so how much money are you going to invest or basically leave at the bank, and I'm going to set that to $1,000. Next I'm going to set another variable. It's called rate. Basically this is how much the bank is going to pay you for leaving your money there with them for X amount of years. And so once it matures, you're able to withdraw your money, but you do have to leave it for a certain amount of years. So for years I will set 5, and then we'll go on to defining our function, right? So in order to define a function, we'll start with DEF for define, and then our function name. This one I'll just call it simple interest. And I'm going to pass 3 parameters, basically my principal, rate, and years, in order to make this computation. For that, I can spell out the entire word, principal, rate, and years, but I'll keep it simple, and I'll just say P, R, and Y, and or short. I'll keep it short rather. And I'll hit enter, and I'll get this automatic tab here. So now I want to compute my simple interest, and in order to do that, my maturity value, or I'll call it maturity amount, or M amount, will equal to my principal, which is represented by P. This is where I'll pass the principal, times, and then I'll put parentheses 1 plus rate times years. So that is my formula. It is principal times 1 plus rate times year, number of years that I'm going to have my investment there, and that'll give my value. Now I want my function, after it does its computation, to return the amount. So I'll say return AMT for matured amount. And now I can use my function and store it in a variable. So I'll create a variable called maturity value, and maturity value will be computed with my simple interest function. And as you recall, I have principal, rate, and years that I have to pass through, and I already have those values already defined in my variables up here. So I'll say principal, rate, years, and that will take these 3 values and then compute the amount and store it in maturity variable. And now I can print like a message, right? I'll say I invested X amount of dollars, and X years later I received this value. Put a $sign there. Okay, and so I'm putting these placeholders, these braces, as I'm using my format string, just so I can grab the variables and just pop them in here. This is a very convenient string formatting method that's available, I think, as a Python 3.6. So basically I invested my principal amount, so principal, and in blank years, so years, and so 5 years later I will receive then the maturity value. And so that is these values going through this function, and then the resulting computation. So maturity values, here we go. And so once I run that in my terminal, there we go. So I invested $1,000 or 1,000, and in 5 years, and 5 years, whatever, 5 years later, I will receive $1,200, right? And that's basically how you define a function, you can take multiple arguments, one argument, or even no arguments whatsoever, and return back a value, based on some logic, computation, or even a print message if you don't want to return a value that can be stored into a variable and later used. Well, hope that was straightforward and clear. Thanks for watching.